Hello everyone and welcome back to Chat with CDO, a program brought to you by the Saigon Times. I'm Kelvin, and today we were talking about the remarkable milestones of the most prestigious hotel in Vietnam, particularly in Ho Chi Minh City. So it's the 30 years operation of New World Saigon Hotel. And to take us through this remarkable journey, so please welcome Mr. Niklas Wagner, the General Manager of New World Saigon Hotel. So first, I want to say thank you for being here with us today.
Thank you for having me, Carl.
And of course, congratulations for the milestone here. I think 30 years is a great success to talk about. But I think behind the success here is a contribution of you and your team. So how do you think about the meaning of this milestone to you personally and to the whole team of New World Saigon as a whole?
So obviously I have not been here 30 years, right? So I'm not that old, but for the team it was a great moment of pride. And we do have quite a number of employees that have been here from the start. We have many employees that served since opening in 1994. And for them to get to this moment, you can really see the pride, right, in them. But of course, it's a milestone, but we always look to the future. We always look to what's next, what can we do better, what can we do differently. So it's a moment in time, it's a milestone that we're very proud of, but we don't rest on the past, right? We look into the future.
So 30 years, I think that there are many great stories to talk about the success. But we really want to know about the key milestone that shaped the success of the hotel here.
So the hotel opened in 1994. It was the first modern 5-star hotel in the city. So that's our claim to fame a little bit. And it did very well from the early days. Early days it was managed by a different company, now it's Rosewood Hotel Group. But the ownership hasn't changed in the entire time. The management changed in 2011. And I think the hotel had a moment where it was becoming a little bit outdated because it hadn't been renovated for a while. And so we had major renovations in 2018, 19, finish in 20, just before COVID. And so we essentially had a new product coming out of COVID because it was almost laid on ice, right, for a couple of years. So that was probably an important moment. And the last couple of years, almost 3 years now, our focus was really on rebuilding the brand, on making sure we are relevant to the market and sort of restoring it back to its former glory, but looking forward, right? Not doing the old things, but doing new things and being relevant for younger generations, making sure we look at our impact in terms of sustainability, but also social impact for local communities and so on, to make sure that we become a brand that's really locally driven.
So we're talking about the success already, but on the flip side, when looking back, was there any moment that you think there is a challenge or obstacle that is very difficult to overcome, but then finally it turns out to be a turning point for the crew?
Yeah, I think that was the renovation point, right? Because the product was getting a bit tired, a bit old. And so, the ownership executed great renovations. I mean, you look, in the presidential suite where we're here, it's a beautiful room and all our rooms are renovated. Our event space is state of the art, or the restaurants are redone. And so it really needed that facelift, right? The software, a lot of the employees are the same, and they live and breathe service. But the hardware had become a little bit tired, right? And so with that come problems. And so I think the hotel was a little bit in decline, but the renovation fixed that. And then it was derailed a little bit by COVID. So the challenge when I arrived was that, there was major renovations, then COVID hit, and after COVID, nobody remembered that we'd renovated.
Yeah.
So it took us a lot of time to educate the market, to bring people in, to show them, hey, look, it's a new hotel inside. Yes, the shell is still the same building, but inside everything is renewed, right? So I think that was an important milestone.
Okay. And right now, I think just like many other countries, so Vietnam is trying to attract more and more tourists and visitors come into Vietnam, and especially right here in Ho Chi Minh City. Is it creating an image of a luxury tourism destination? But there is a growing demand for sustainability too. So right at the hotel here, how you redefine the luxury with the eco-conscious initiative?
So the two are not exclusive, right? I mean, for us as a company, as Rosewood Hotel Group, we want to become a purpose-driven company. So it's within our DNA, and it is because it makes business sense. But also, I think we're at a point where, a few may still, but the majority of people don't deny that climate change is real, and the challenges for plastic and so on, they're all real. We can see it, right? Even here in Vietnam, if you go to certain places, even to the river, you see the pollution, right? And so we want to make sure that we make a difference, right? And we've been on this journey to do the best we can. We are by no means perfect. But for example, we phased out all front of house single-use plastics. So if you go into our rooms, there's no plastic bottles. No, many hotels do that. That's a simple one, right? What we've been really good at is, as a team, to eliminate the amount of waste that goes to landfill. When we started on this mission, we were around 21% of our garbage would be diverted from landfill. Now we're over 90%, right? So we found a lot of good local partners that help us retrieve waste and do something useful with it, and don't send it to the landfill. So that took a lot of effort, and it took a lot of educating of the team and really getting everybody behind our purpose-driven mission. We're in the process of installing solar panels around the roofs of the hotel. Does it produce enough energy to run the hotel? No. Does it make a little impact? Yes. So as long as it makes a little impact, we should do it, right? This year also we are changing to heat pumps instead of boilers, so that will have a massive impact on our carbon footprint. So we just continuously do things. And we also, we've just been certified by a GSTC, Global Sustainability Tourism Council, for being a more sustainable operation. And they have very stringent sort of guidelines on how they evaluate. And so we've been able to achieve this remarkable. I mean, it's not just the sustainability impact, but it's also the impact on the community, right? So we're sort of in an ongoing partnership with Saigon Children, who basically support education of underprivileged children. And throughout the year, we have a number of initiatives with them to raise money, to send people to school, which is very meaningful for the community, right? And it was quite nice. Last year, we did an art exhibition in the lobby, and all the paintings, it was a mixture between paintings of kids from kindergarten and professional artists and art students, and they were all up for auction. So at the end, I think it raised about 11,000 USD, and for these 11,000 USD, if I remember correctly, it was about 22 kids that were sent to school for a whole year, right? And we work with Saigon Children because they're very transparent on, who they support and where the money goes, and so very good organization to work with. So we're trying to, become as green as possible, but also to be part of the community, support the community. In 2 weeks from now, we are going to an eco park about 52 kilometers from here, and we're doing some volunteering, some planting some mangroves there for protection. Some of us will try to go there on bicycle, so let's see. And so we're doing a lot, and we're really trying to get the entire team behind this effort.
Very interesting to listen to the sustainability practices, and also you already mentioned some CSR activity too. As I mentioned in the introduction, New World Saigon Hotel is one of the most prestigious hotel in Vietnam, because the hotels used to host the U.S. president too. So what do make you think this place is so prestigious icon of Vietnam?
Number one, we've built our reputation over a long period of time, right? 30 years. Our focus is on service and guest experiences, right? So while sustainability is something that our guests now expect, nobody wants to stay somewhere that's irresponsible. It's really the day-to-day relationship building with our guests, the interactions of our employees with the guests that has built that reputation, right? We've, even in the last 3 years, we've managed to establish so many new links with companies, with governments, with diplomats, with a broad range of customers. And as we approach each one of them and execute on events or VIP stays or just company bookings, leisure travel bookings, as you deliver on that, reputation builds, right? And word of mouth also spreads. So a lot of our growth is now driven by that, right? Somebody saying, "Oh, I heard you're taking care of this. We also have something coming," right? So it's really the day-to-day operation that drives it. We have also, so service excellence is key, right? Having the right food and beverage program is also key, especially for events, right? We got to deliver great food there to make sure events come back. As an example, right? We 3 years ago, when we were sort of coming out of COVID and rebuilding and trying to get more business back to the hotel because people had forgotten that we renovated and so on, we managed to convince the Italian National Day to be held here, right? And we brought in a couple of chefs from Hong Kong, from our flagship Rosewood property there, to help, because they're Italian, to help with the Italian food, and we really delivered. And now this year will be probably the 3rd year in a row that we get this business, right? And they have talked to other diplomatic communities, and we're getting now other business from them, right? And we very much focus on every piece, right? We don't take anything for granted. I think that's the key, because once you start taking it for granted, your blinders go on, and you drop, right? You forget things, or you don't give it as much attention as it deserves. Then some quality slips, and then you lose. So you got to stay and remain focused at all times if you want to win, and it's through relationships.
And from your sharing, I can learn that sustainability now standing at the core of New World Saigon Hotel. And it's true, because now the world is moving towards a sustainable future too. So right at the hotel on this opportunity, so could you elaborate more on the green initiative here right in the hotel, and how do they align with the global standards of sustainability?
Well, global standards is very hard for me to refer to, but we want to be not following the global standards, but we want to ideally be ahead of them, right? We as a company, we have a goal to be carbon neutral by 2050, and there's a lot of work to be done, and we are especially here in Saigon, we are pushing a bit more than perhaps elsewhere, because we as a team somehow we embraced it, right? We feel it's of a major importance to the destination. We feel that our guests expect it of us. For example, right, I had a very important client who shared with me that his company, he used to fly every week somewhere, right? And he was based in Saigon, Ho Chi Minh City, but he would travel so much, and he would go somewhere, come back, and go again after the weekend, and just carbon footprint, right? And now his company said, no, look, we got to reduce, right? And so they basically said, if you go, you stay the weekend, right? And you don't come back. So you reduce your number of flights. And so his travel has reduced massively to combine trips, to shorten trips or lengthen them, so not going multiple times to the same destination. And so it's our business clients and companies that are changing. And so we must change, right? We must be in line with what our market expects. And so it's market driven, it's an expectation, and it's also simply the right thing to do, right? We can't wait until everything collapses. We have a role to play in at least trying to secure a future for Ho Chi Minh City and the wider world, right? So I'm hopeful that we're a little bit ahead of global standards, and we're trying very hard to be a role model in a way.
I think that you never say no to the new thing. Look at the new World Saigon hotels now. How it's developing. So right now in the Saigon Times now, we have a chance to sit down and have a conversation with many business leaders. So they really care about the sustainability too. Just like you say, they don't want to fall behind their advisories. So sustainability is something that they are moving toward in the future too. But this is the business thing. So we talk about the cost efficiency and the needs for the green solution. So there are two options here. So right in the hotel, how do you navigate the balance?
Actually, being green saves you costs, right? So, if you look at one small element, perhaps not, right? If you look at, is a glass bottle in the room more expensive than a plastic? Probably, right? But at the balance of everything, it actually makes business sense too, right? For example, if you put solar panels and they contribute to your electricity, that electricity is going to be cheaper than the electricity from the net, right? And at the same time, it reduces your carbon footprint. For us changing our boilers, for example, to heat pumps, it's massive reduction in CO2, but at the same time, it also saves us cost, right? There's a clear return on investment to do this, right? And also, I feel that it helps drive the value of the brand. And so eventually people also pay a bit more for that, right? Because they know we're doing the right thing. We had a little bit of a debate on, so we have cabanas around our pool areas, and we just put the solar panels on top of those cabanas. And I had a conversation with someone on the aesthetics of it. And they're saying, oh, maybe it doesn't look so good, right? And I said, well, but I think our guests like to see that they're in a place that cares, and since we put it, actually it looks good anyway. But since we put it, I've received a number of guest comments saying, "Oh, great, you're doing the right thing," and they literally feel better about staying here, right? So it does matter to most of our guests.
Yeah. So there is a great chance in the awareness of the people about the environment and sustainability too. And I heard that in the Parkview you have a vegetarian menu. So how that reflects your commitment to the journey?
Yes, so we decided, I think it was 5 months ago, to go vegetarian and vegan in Parkview. Had multiple reasons. As you know, in Vietnamese culture, there's typically 2 vegetarian days per month, right?
Yes,
and then I think 5 months ago, there was like a vegetarian month, right? So we did a promotion for that month. And we started realizing people like to come for vegetarian food. And there's a few good vegetarian restaurants in the city anyway that are very successful. So the restaurant was not doing so well. I think hotel restaurants, especially if it's like an all-day dining, you try to offer everything to everyone. And at the end, you really offer nothing to nobody, right? It's a function, but it doesn't have a character. So we tried to give it more of a concept. So we continued after that month to change to a vegetarian menu, and it's been positive in terms of people coming in. But it also is in line, like you said, with our sustainability efforts, right? Because we're trying to get all our food, at least 70% of our food should be sourced locally within 300 kilometers of the hotel. I think we're actually above 80 at the moment. And, growing vegetables has less of a footprint than raising cattle, right? And beef and chicken and all that. So it's naturally less impact on the environment. We also have our own vegetable garden now on the 2nd floor, where we've created a nice sort of terrace area with garden. And so we're growing some of our herbs and vegetables there. It's not a significant amount of produce to use for everything, but salads and so on, we get some good quantities there. And again, there's no transportation now involved, right? It's hyper local. So those are the things we're doing. And with Parkview, we're also trying to eventually make it what we call an impact venture, which means we're looking at how else can we add elements to it, where we support local community. For example, we went to, or the team went to a rice cracker. I hope I get this right. A rice cracker maker, local family business, quite small. I think 10 kilometers outside the city. Family business, 3rd generation. And so we're going to buy their product. It's all handmade, very, very tasty actually. And we're going to use it to support them so that they can continue their 3rd generation business. We also have a noodle maker that we are going to support and buy their noodles. Again, it's a small family business. And if we buy, then that helps them to exist longer, right? So those are the things. Looking at is there people we can employ that otherwise don't have a chance to get a job? So we're trying to do more around that, especially for Parkview.
Out there in the markets, there are many young people who want to follow the hospitality career and also want to support the sustainability. So what's your advice is to give them?
I think we do have a little bit of a image challenge in hospitality worldwide. I think in Ho Chi Minh City is still relatively easy to find talent to come and work in hospitality and hotels particularly. But our reputation is that you make little money and work long hours, right? So that's something we need to work on. And so we are working on making it more attractive and be more flexible. That could be, a dress code, for example. Hospitality used to be very strict in terms of the look of people, and we're given a bit more freedom, so for self-expression and so on. So we have a job to do to be more attractive, right? But then as an advice for those youngsters that are interested in it, number one, try to do an internship, right? And learn about the business. If you're not studying, we work with a couple of university and get interns, and also a small cooking school that actually gets underprivileged kids and pays for their education to help them become chefs. So we're taking from them some interns as well. But you got to make sure it's for you, right? Number one, because it's, whenever the interns, especially first-time interns, finish here, we have a sit down and we talk to them. And one thing I always say is, look, if this is your first internship, think about it. Did you enjoy it? Do you feel this is yours? We call it like, is it your calling, right? And if you're not sure at that point, you have a chance to go somewhere else. Okay? Because this industry is a lot of fun, especially if you like people, right? Yes, there's a lot of technology coming, but at the end of the day, face-to-face people is still core of what we do. It's core of hospitality, right? So I don't think that will ever completely go away, right? But you gotta love it, right? Otherwise, you will not put up with some of the challenges, perhaps, that you'll have throughout your career. And then when you look at sustainability, if you are at a point where you've decided you like this, you want to do this, and you're learning about it, you got to also make sure you join the right project, right? If you are looking for your first job in hospitality, look at, who you apply to, right? Is that in line with your values, right? If you value sustainability, don't work for a company where you see, obviously, they're destroying the environment. They're doing massive developments in a, natural park area. I don't know, right? But you know what I mean. You want to check what are the values of that company and do they align with yours, right?
And thank you for your message for the young people out there. I hope that they will learn something from your sharing. And by the way, you also mentioned about the technology. Many of them are coming. We usually can hear about artificial intelligence or AI. So how do you think about the impact of technology to this industry, and how at the hotel here, how can you take a great advantage of the technology for your operation?
This is a very exciting topic, right? It will have a massive impact, but as I said, at the core of hospitality is still human to human, right? Yes. Face, relationship. However, I think AI is obviously becoming a lot smarter than us already, right? And I see AI being leveraged within a lot of the systems that we use to make things a lot more efficient, right? For example, we do have a platform where our guests can communicate with our team via chat. I would assume that soon there will be an AI component to that, where a lot of information can be provided without anybody responding physically, and probably quicker and more correct at times, right? I mean, if you're going on there and you're saying, hey, where can I find a hairdresser within 2 kilometers? Now you have a person on the other end. Oh, let me Google, if people still do that. I don't even Google anymore. Yeah. But it takes time, right? Whereas if that is AI supported, it can all do that, right? And eventually, once you go further to where it becomes AI agents, then that can be connected to, okay, we found the hairdresser, would you like me to make a reservation? The AI agent makes the reservation, sends to the contact number and so on. So I think there's going to be a lot of automation of that part, probably also on check-in, check-out, and so on. I think it will free up people's time to actually have meaningful interactions with guests. On the back end, I think it will help with analytics and security for sure, smarter camera systems, and so on. I mean, a lot of it already exists. Yes. The pace of change in that area is mind-blowing, right? So every day you see some new software came out. I mean, some of it is probably moving too fast. We've got to be careful too that we maintain the human aspect, right?
And once again, thank you for joining with us today, Mr. Wagner. It's very inspiring listening to your story and the efforts of the new World Saigon Hotel moving towards a sustainable future and at the same time maintain its excellence. And for the viewers of the Saigon Times, thank you for joining and please stay tuned for more engaging conversation. Until next time, take care and see you soon.